I have always been drawn to the inexplicable, but nothing could have prepared me for what I encountered on that gray afternoon. As I walked through the streets of a market that blended the old with the modern, the sounds of everyday life merged with whispers from the past. Amid weathered facades and luminous signs, my steps led me to a structure that seemed out of place in time. A glass and ornate iron greenhouse, nestled among contemporary buildings, yet exuding an aura that evoked secrets from forgotten eras. As I approached, a disturbing sensation overtook me. The air, heavy with a sweet and slightly nauseating aroma, exuded a perfume that felt more like a macabre invitation to perdition. Behind the ornate gate, the space revealed itself as a parallel universe, where light dissolved into irregularly dancing shadows, and every corner seemed to hide a dark story. I entered with the hesitation of someone who knows that once that barrier is crossed, there is no turning back. Inside the greenhouse, exotic plants displayed vibrant colors and unusual shapes, but what impressed me most was the feeling that they were breathing. Every leaf, every petal seemed to pulse with a life of its own, as if the very heart of the place were hidden among the twisted stems. In the midst of this unsettling ballet, I realized that the plants moved in an almost conscious manner, in a rhythm that defied natural logic. For brief moments, I imagined hearing faint whispers, as if they were sharing ancient secrets, murmurs of lost rituals and spells that should never be unveiled. As I moved further, my eyes fell upon an inscription carved into a stone, partially obscured by ivy and moss. "Beware of the touch that steals the soul." Those words echoed in my mind, intensifying the discomfort that already consumed me. Every step seemed to draw me closer to a hidden truth, to a sinister ritual unfolding silently beneath the facade of exotic beauty. I continued down a narrow corridor, flanked by rows of plants that writhed as if possessing a will of their own. It was then that I discovered an old book resting on a marble pedestal. Its worn leather binding and time-yellowed pages indicated that ancient secrets lay within. As I leafed through its pages, I encountered texts speaking of pacts with dark forces, of forbidden rituals, and of audacious experiments designed to create beings capable of absorbing the vital essence of the unwary. Those words appeared to conspire with the surroundings, gradually revealing a disturbing truth. These plants were not mere vegetation, but instruments of an ancient black magic, created to capture human souls. As I read, the environment around me seemed to come alive. The sound of the wind sneaking through the leaves grew stronger, merging with almost imperceptible murmurs to form a symphony of terror. At one moment, one of the plants, its leaves glistening under the diffused light, extended a stem toward me as if it wished to touch me. The contact was brief, but I felt an electric shock surge through every fiber of my being, leaving me dazed and confused. My legs weakened, and for a few moments, the world seemed to disintegrate into a whirlwind of disjointed images, disfigured faces, muffled screams, and a sea of leaves in constant motion. This vision filled me with paralyzing terror, yet an almost insane curiosity compelled me to press on, as if I needed to understand what lay behind that macabre transformation. I walked with faltering steps until, in a secluded corner of the greenhouse, I came upon a stone altar arranged in a manner that suggested a long-forgotten ritual. Around it, the plants formed an almost perfect circle, as if they had been carefully positioned to mark a space both sacred and profane. At the center of the altar, a mark in the shape of an inverted pentagram was precisely carved, emanating an energy that made the air vibrate. It was at that moment that a hooded figure appeared, slowly floating above the altar. Its movements were deliberate and measured, and the few visible features of its face revealed an empty gaze, as if life itself had been drained from its essence. The figure murmured words I could not comprehend, yet they resonated in my mind with the force of an ancient spell. At the same time, the whispers of the plants intensified, as though joining in that macabre invocation. I felt an overwhelming pressure, as if invisible forces were trying to imprison my soul. My survival instinct cried out for escape, yet my feet seemed rooted to the ground, incapable of carrying me away from that infernal scene. The hooded figure slowly approached, and for a brief moment I glimpsed eyes shining with a disturbing emptiness, reflecting the very essence of despair. In that instant, a guttural voice echoed in my mind, inexorably declaring that I was destined to be part of that ritual, to be consumed by the insatiable hunger of the plants. Every beat of my heart was accompanied by a sinister sound, the rustling of leaves that, like famished hands, seemed intent on seizing my soul. In a desperate attempt, I tried to run toward the exit, but the door slammed shut with supernatural force, trapping me in that nightmare. Panic gripped me as I realized there was no escape. The glass walls had become an implacable prison, and the shadows around me seemed to close in, enveloping me in a deadly embrace. As I struggled to find a way out, my thoughts grew muddled, and reality began to distort. I recalled stories of witchcraft, of pacts with dark entities, yet I had never imagined I would be living one of those horrors. With every passing moment, the sensation that something inevitable was drawing near grew more palpable, as if the very plants were absorbing not only the air, but the essence of my existence. I felt my strength ebb away, and an inexplicable weakness took over my body, as though each leaf that brushed my skin sucked away a little more of my life. Then, with excruciating clarity, I saw faces that had once been mere shadows of my imagination, now materializing in the folds of reality. Silhouettes of people, caught between the world of the living and the dead, lurked among the plants like silent witnesses to a long-condemned ritual. Their eyes, empty and desperate, reflected the tragic fate of those who, like me, dared to defy the limits of the unknown. As my strength waned, I began to understand that the greenhouse was not merely a physical space, but a portal to a dimension where life mingled with death in a perverse and irreversible way. Every leaf, every petal, carried the weight of imprisoned souls, and the insatiable hunger of the plants was nourished by this torment. In one final burst of lucidity, I tried to commit every detail of that horror to memory, hoping that my story might serve as a warning to the unwary who ventured down similar paths. Now, as I write these words with the yellowed ink of memory and the cold sweat of anguish, I still feel the echo of that dark ritual pulsing in my mind. I know many may doubt the veracity of what I experienced, but the terror was as real as the rapid beating of my heart in that final moment. The greenhouse of despair remains hidden among the folds of a market that blends the old with the modern, waiting for those who allow themselves to be seduced by its enigmatic beauty. If you ever hear the soft, hypnotic call of whispering leaves or feel the icy touch of a hungry plant, flee while you still can, for in that place, the price of curiosity is your very soul. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more.